Okay, so today we're going to talk about the Wicked Wind. Is it good? I don't think so. I just think this is a very mediocre item. This thing it's basically the exact same item as the hammer, except the hammer's abilities make a little bit more sense than this one does. This one here, this is what confuses me about the item, is that they basically just carbon copied this, the hammer and the axe's abilities on top of each other. You can choose to go with double armor, the same as the hammer. You can choose to go with double impact, the same as the hammer. You can choose to go with double movement speed, the same as the hammer. But hammers are better at impact. Hammers are better at throwing things around. Wicked Wind is an axe. It's built more for damage, so it would make more sense if this weapon was damage centric, which it's not. I'm not a huge fan of this weapon. It just doesn't seem like it has any synergy or has any place or reason why you would take this over any other weapon. This weapon has a 25% chance to crit because it's an axe, and that's what axes do. They have a high crit chance and a high crit damage. You can amplify this further by going with a crit damage build, but keeping in mind that if you go with a crit damage build, you're using up the one of your attack speed slots. So you have to go attack damage, or sorry, crit damage or crit rating here, and then the other one will be, one crit rating, one crit damage. That way it'll boost it all the way up to probably about 50% or 52%, somewhere around there. The crit damage will be really, really high, but this weapon will swing extremely slowly. So you're definitely going to, struggle with your attack speed. The one major difference that differentiates the two weapons is that the hammer had the ability to put 2 attack speed perks, whereas the axe only gives you the one option on the first perk. This one here, you can either go with movement speed, life leech, armor, whatever you like the best. I think armor is probably the best choice for this one. Energy is the best choice here. If you decide to go with crit, then you go crit rating there, crit damage there, and then on your last perk you have to decide whether or not you want extra damage or extra armor or extra impact. Now I'm not really sure why you would take impact on an axe. That seems odd to even give you the option of having a double impact on this weapon, because if you wanted to run around with impact, you're going to run around with a hammer because the hammers are built for impact. So this weapon, I think, struggles to know what it is and know what its role is. I feel like they just put it in as a placeholder, copied all of the abilities off of the hammer, just to give you another visually different option, and then removed one of the attack speeds for some reason, which I'm not even sure why they would do that. But it just makes the weapon even less usable. So if I was going to use this one, I'd probably use it as a meme weapon. I would run around with super huge crits, swinging extremely slowly, and just like exploding enemies left, right, and center. I mean, sounds fun. I mean, my default roll actually came out pretty good. I got a double crit damage and a damage roll with some armor and energy. I mean, that's pretty much ideal. The only thing I would switch is probably change the crit damage to crit rate. But even that's not even necessarily, necessary, because I've already got a 25% chance to crit. So 1 out of 4 of my swings are going to crit, and then when I do crit, it's going to be really, really huge. So it'll be funny to watch the massive crits explode off with this weapon. So definitely the entertainment value is going to be there for sure. But is this weapon good? No. I don't think this weapon knows what it is. I don't think this weapon... I would never use this weapon. Ever. I already not a huge fan of the hammer. Just because if I'm going to use melee, I would rather kill something than knock it around and have high armor. And this weapon is like an even less useful version of the other one. It's like this one's more about damage, but it's not damage enough to be a good, it's not like a Stazworth a third where you're going to walk in and like delete stuff. You're going to, you're going to attack really slowly and mess around and probably die. And yeah, it just Not a fan. Not a fan at all. So, yeah, Wicked Wind, is it good? No. No, Wicked Wind is not good, and I don't recommend you waste your points on it. It's a very mediocre item, and I don't think it's worth the time it would take to level up unless you are a huge axe fan. And then, yeah, this weapon gives you a lot of options. You can go impact, you can go movement speed, you can go damage reduction. You can put some lifesteal on there if you want. It does give you a large variety of options. But I don't feel like this weapon stands out from the crowd in any way. The nicest thing about this weapon is that, like the rest of the medieval set, it is absolutely beautifully crafted, beautiful design, aesthetically one of the nicest axes in the game. It's got that chivalry or Lord of Ron, World of Warcraft, Azeroth type feel to it. So I like that. That's some nostalgia for me, so that gives it some huge bonus points. But overall, I wouldn't waste my time on this weapon. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna do the this is the gameplay footage for the Wicked Wind, our crazy big axe here. Okay, so here we go. Oh wow, there goes the smasher. No anti-smasher floors for the win. There we go. Man, you can see when it crits, hey? This thing only crits 1 out of 4 swings. When it crits big. Oh. This axe is a pretty nonsense weapon, as expected. It's just a big huge crit weapon. You swing super slow. When you hit, you have a 1 in 4 chance of doing insane amounts of damage. And by insane, I mean a decent amount of damage. It's actually, you would expect way more from a weapon that for a weapon that actually feels this weak. This is definitely more fun doing this on Ragnarok because he's a very melee-centric character. When you come up against riot enemies, you can just punch them right over, and yeah, it's a very entertaining way of dealing with problems like this. It's like, oh hey, get wrecked. The spin has surprisingly little range. Oh yeah, 1-shot kill the propane husk. That felt good. Yeah, this is a weird novelty weapon. Fly into battle, do as much damage as you can. This one definitely would excel pretty heavily from having the shield regeneration, getting the extra 25% shields every time you hit something 5 times would definitely improve your sustain in combat, which is you know, a pretty cool element. Honestly, I would have really liked to have seen a really fast attack sword, like something with really high damage per second and fast swing speed, with the shield bonus. I think that'd be a fascinating weapon type. It's too bad that your options are axe and hammer, and that we don't actually have, you know. I just feel like they're very subpar. They're not major damage weapons. You know, they're very much utility, double utility perks. You know, extra impact, extra movement speed, extra armor. When really truly the only thing that matters on any weapon is how much damage you can do. So yeah, this weapon is quite unimpressive to me. It is kind of fun, you know, watching a big axe cleave around. But is it effective? No, not at all. The only reason that this weapon is doing anything right now is because I'm very high level and I'm able to walk into battle, you know, quite effectively without taking a ton of damage because I'm, you know, so strong. Even in Twine Peaks, I'm a significant threat. I gotta say though, man, you feel pretty darn Viking running around with Ragnarok and a giant halberd axe. How cool does this look, Migs? Just a big freaky Viking with a big freaky axe. Just walking in, just cutting everything to bits. I think the probably the best version of this weapon would likely just be an attack speed version, just the same as everything else. Attack speed really truly for doing damage on melee. It's the only thing that really matters. Turn this into an attack speed weapon, attack really fast, team it up with hardy strikes to get that extra physical healing, life regeneration. I think that, yeah, I would probably give you your best experience with this weapon. I know swinging a big, huge, giant axe really slowly and doing a bunch of damage is cool, but swinging it faster and having more consistent damage per second is a much more realistic way to play. What we're doing here is clearly just a novelty, just for fun, just running around with massive crits, and you know, booyah! Fun entertainment value, but I would never spend reperk and perk up upgrading this weapon. This is definitely not the weapon for me. Anyway, guys, hope you liked this review. If you did, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if there's any other any reviews you'd like me to cover, and yeah, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Catch you guys next time.